So let me give you my reasons. Well, I want to give you some background on why I'm running. So I am a proud resident of the Westgate neighborhood. I live very close to the elementary school out there with my husband and 15-year-old daughter who goes to Edmonds Woodway. I've got a 26-year-old down in Edmonds, Salem. She also went to Edmonds Woodway. I have been a working person my whole life since age 15. Working mom, every moment that I've been a mom pretty much except for maternity leave. So known as a hard worker. I left corporate America back in 2017 to dive into nonprofits because I wanted to serve my community and to give back. And that's where I'm devoting the rest of my life, is to service. I currently am proud to work at Volunteers of America, Western Washington, losing my voice. My title is Deputy COO, so I work really closely with all of our programs, which I lead.
Go get more water, please.
Well, I've got some now, thank you. So I've got proven leadership experience. I always have to budget on priorities, not knowing if we'll have funding the next year or not. I'm known to be a problem solver. I've been in operations a number of years, having to solve complex problems, working for years with people that don't see things like I do, that come to the table with different opinions, come from different backgrounds and beliefs. And I wouldn't be where I am today if I wasn't able to work through all of those issues by staying respectful, being an active listener, and known as someone who's going to come in level-headed and work through the tough problems. And I want to bring all of those skills with me to the city of Edmonds to serve my immediate hometown. Those things are very important to me. And I'll be in service regardless, right? I'll be so bummed if this does not work out. But I will still be devoting my life to service in my community regardless. So again, thank you for your time. I'd love any questions that you have for me.
Right on time. Thank you.
Chris, I've known you just a little bit in your community service activities, but I'm really interested in your approach to nonpartisan, collaborative dialogues with people who have like a different point of view. But like even on our council, it's not just one point of view, it's like 3 or 4 different points of view. What have you done in the past to bring people together? What's been your part in drawing people out and helping to facilitate let's say a better solution that helps everybody?
So what I've done, what I can tell you what I would do out of the gate is I would pause if things were starting to get a little heated.
I'm really interested in what you've done.
That's what I do, right? I'm known as a listener. So let's stop for a second. I want to make sure that I'm hearing you correctly. So tell me again what you were saying, and I'll repeat it back to you, right? I want to make sure that we are understanding each other, even though we don't agree. And then multiple perspectives. Everybody has a perspective that is valid and knowledge and experience to offer. I have to do this now. I've led large and small teams. I don't do it as a dictator. I do it as, I don't know it all. Let's all come together. I want to hear your ideas, and let's navigate through this to figure out the best answer. I'm not saying it's easy, but that's the way I've done it. Moving forward, I will do the same while treating people respectfully. Even if maybe I'm not being treated that way, right? I treat everyone the same regardless of title or background.
Thank you.
And following up on that question, can you give us an example of a time when you've done that, like when you were in a leadership role, or what a problem that you've solved?
Yeah, I mean, back in corporate America, there were numerous, right? So I was in operations. I actually led the complaints and appeals section, right? And we had to work closely with other programs that would be impacted by our ability or inability to deal with our inventory that was coming back and forth, right? Because we'd have to pass it to them and there'd be backlogs. So anyway, hurt feelings would occur. People would get grumpy and mad, right? And what you'd have to do is take the time, get out of that meeting or whatever it takes to go over and actually talk to that other person. Say, I know that this is really a sore point for your department. Can we talk? I really want to hear more about how this is impacting your people and morale and all of that. I want to understand. okay, let me tell you about any system challenges we might have that might be causing it, not to make excuses, but to educate both sides of that process, to come to a solution. And maybe for us, it actually ended up moving part of that work to that other area so that we weren't holding up things before it got to them. So that's just one example of how we were able to do that.
Chris, I'm Richard Bologna, resident Edmonds, business owner, Chamber of Commerce. Chris, I've always tried to operate that if something works for me personally, it'll work for me professionally. And a good friend of mine, Vivian, has done a great job with leadership. When I look at you, I see a lot of energy. And sometimes in life, you got to bring the energy. And I think leadership skills and energy. Could you give me your take?
You can have a lot of leadership skills, but they don't always translate to whatever environment that you're in, right? So I had leadership skills when I jumped ship at corporate America to go to nonprofits, but I had to actually take a step down. And it was humbling. I like to think I'm not about the ego, and really I'm not. I'm not even doing this for the ego, right? But I had to learn a whole new industry. So for me, it is about staying focused. It's about learning the job, doing your homework to make sure you really understand the issues deeply from all sides, and showing up and being a serious person. But showing your passion for the work is really important, because you're not going to get people to follow you and to want to work with you if you're just phoning it in, right? I think that passion and excitement, not something you're going to do 24/7, but it's an instrumental piece of being able to influence and have, I think, effective communication.
Thanks, Chris. Thank you.
There's some hot topics here. I'm going to read them off to you. Maybe you'd like to expound on one of them and give us your take. As a city council member, you would deal with housing, you would deal with city budget, you might even deal with the marsh, building codes, climate and environment, public safety, or traffic and parking. Would you like to expound on one of those and what you might do to move it forward?
Sure. So not only can I bring my human services leadership background with me, I'm currently on the Snohomish County Planning Commission. So in no way am I a planning developer, right? But I've had exposure from that, and also being the chair of the Linwood Planning Commission. So I do have both the human services experience when coming to issues like housing, but also some of that zoning and planning exposure. Let's take housing, right? Certainly not an easy problem to solve, and it won't be cookie cutter to really solve it. Zoning changes happen, right? We know that. It's just happened. It doesn't mean that you start plopping down multifamily housing right on Main Street, right? Or even 4 blocks from Main Street. You don't want to just do it anywhere just to do it. But we can't put it all on Highway 99 either. If that community really doesn't deserve just to have it all there also. So you have to be balanced in your approach. We're going to have to be creative, because if I think about my own mother-in-law, who we need to probably move out of her home in West Seattle soon because she's getting more fragile, and I hope she's not watching this. We're going to have to see something that makes sense, whether it's an attached dwelling to our home and it's a build out, or something, because she's not going to be able to afford to pay rent. My 26-year-old in Oregon doesn't know when she'll be able to move up here to afford to pay rent. We've got teachers, I know everybody says this, but it's really true. We've got teachers, firefighters from our own community that cannot afford to live here. So we can't do nothing. We're going to have to look at it, but we just can't pile it on downtown. We can't pile it all on 99. We're going to have to be balanced about how we do this.